Welcome to another episode of That's Solo Life, the podcast for PR pros and marketers who work for themselves. Like me, Michelle Kane of Voice Matters, and my ever steady co-host, Karen Swim of Solo PR Pro. How are you, Karen?
I am amazing, Michelle. Thank you.
Good.
How
Yes,
are
you
you
are.
doing? How are
Doing
you?
I'm pretty well, thanks. Yeah, thankfully busy, and as this episode hits, we're heading into crunch time for the holidays, which, it's like, yeah, what happens happens, and that's all good.
I'm kind of done for the year, so
Ah, yay.
I'm the opposite. I already have my last client meeting of the year,
Oh, that's
and
nice.
I am just downshifting into
Oh,
neutral.
that is delightful. I have one client has a Secret Santa thing that we're still chugging along with, and so we'll have some loose ribbons, Christmas ribbons to tie up before the big day. Although I don't know, I think we're kind of of the same mind as I am. It's a holiday season, right?
It's a holiday season, and I'm really trying to enjoy the season because,
Yes,
I'm winding down. So, which is a great segue into our topic
it
for the
is.
day.
Yes, we're going to talk about ending the year strong. And, kind of how we're speaking right now, ending your year strong doesn't mean that you're, gunning it for the gates.
Right.
You don't want to just be like tapping out for the year depleted. I think ending the year strong, of course, means sure, you're going to give things more energy. You don't want to slack off. But at the same time, because we're solos and the beauty is we get to create our own work lives, it should also be a time where you can evaluate kind of what worked for this year and what you want to bring into the new year. So hopefully we can bring you some inspiration in that direction.
Yeah, I would say one of the ways that you can end your year strong. So, we're going to approach this today from both the things that you can do with your most important asset, which
Hmm.
is you, and how you can end the year strong with your clients. So, let's tackle your most valuable asset, the you, and how you can make sure that you end your year strong and are ready for the next year.
Yeah.
If you do not already do this, you need to have a notebook or a jar where you are keeping track of the things that not only that you're thankful for, but the great things that happen, because
Mm.
it's so easy sometimes in the hustle and bustle to forget about the things that we did. And remember that a victory for you doesn't always have to mean some big splashy, media relations win for the client or some big campaign. It could be something really small. It could be turning around a relationship with a difficult client. It could mean that you stood up for yourself. When those moments happen, you want to have somewhere to track it. So
Mm.
either have yourself a notebook, a gratitude journal, a wins journal, or have a jar, and you can make it pretty on the outside, that you stick these little notes into. They could be little slips of paper, it doesn't have to be anything fancy, something that you can go back to. So if you have a jar, you can open that jar if you're having a tough day, and you can pull something out and you can remind yourself what a rock star you are. And if it's a notebook, then you can flip to a page and you can look at something and remind yourself that, you've done great things, because we all need that personal history for ourselves
Yes.
to sometimes replenish us, because I promise you that no matter how great of a year you're having, you're going to hit those little bumps in the road. And it helps to have these reminders from our own past to keep us going.
I love that. And of course, full confession in complete Michelle style. We made one of those last year, a women's group, and it's just kind of sitting over there. So I'm just going to cross off 2022 on the lid and put 2023 because you know what you do? You need those things. And because we forget, right? We just go from, thing to thing, and because it's what we do and it's our job to do it well. And we often forget to congratulate ourselves and really document the things that we have accomplished. And I love that, to do that in the context of your business. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. And, actually do it, because
Hmm.
this is how you pour back into yourself.
Yeah.
We talk about keeping, ourselves replenished. And, we always talk about putting on your own oxygen mask first. This is how
Yes.
you keep that glass full all year, is you have to make time to really talk to yourself and remind yourself, and keep your thinking positive, because otherwise it's easy to descend, and
Yep.
something can topple you, can still your confidence for the moment. And so these are little confidence boosters, so that you
Hmm.
don't forget, because I promise you, been there, done that. If you ask me to just recall the things that went right this year, I would forget so many things.
Right.
I would just forget. I wouldn't remember. And if I'm having a particularly bad moment, I could recall zero. All I would see is that moment, and it would sap away everything that's gone well this year. And you'll find at the end of the year that more things went right than they went wrong.
So true. So true. And we say this all the time because we work for ourselves. It's really easy to get lost in that echo chamber in our heads. And, to that point of really taking care of yourself as we close the year, I just started watching the documentary called Stutz on Netflix. I didn't make it very far, but it's Jonah Hill and his therapist.
Hmm.
Yes, and one of the things the first tool he gives is to protect your life force. And I said, okay, I'm listening. But all he really means is, you know, take care of yourself physically, go out, get a walk. It's your physical body, people. He said, go to lunch. Even if you don't want to go to lunch with a person, you need to do that with people. And because, okay, I need to do those things, I forget the third one. But I encourage you to watch it, even if it's just that first 20 minutes, because it was such a reinforcement from a legit psychiatrist of, yeah, you know what? You're right. And we shouldn't need that justification from an external professional to do the things that we know are good for us and that keep us energized and focused and that light us up and make us, not just better professionals, but, help us enjoy our time on this planet. But so,
I love that. I had not heard of that series,
yeah.
but I will definitely look into that. And
Absolutely. And Belle wants to remind us that, yes, that includes walking our dogs.
well, unfortunately, when you have a dog in your workplace and deliveries come, they're going to alert you that the delivery is here. So, pardon
Who
my
says we don't?
lovely little alarm system.
Who says we don't have a receptionist? We do. They have got
Yeah.
4 legs and fur and they just like to bark, but we love our office mates.
Definitely, we do. I would say, if we switch over to the client side for a bit,
Yeah.
one thing that you can do to end your year strong is to make sure that you're directing your programs for 2023. So,
Mhm.
whether or not you've changed the budget, you want to set the tone for the coming year. And that means taking some time and sitting down for yourself and looking at what pieces of the program went really well and what can we lean into more next year.
Mhm.
What parts of the program were draining for you, took up too much time, weren't efficient, or didn't deliver results, and how can we tweak that? I think that it's also very important to begin to really dig down deep, look at your metrics, and look at things that you have taken for granted, that, it's like, well, we've always done X. And
Yes.
think about, should we continue to always do X? And then what ways can you innovate for clients? And so, as part of your recap of the year, some people are doing it this month, some are holding off until the new year. When you recap the year, you also want to present, here's the plan for this year. Here are the things that
Mhm.
we are going to focus on. You don't want to always put yourself in a position ever, in my opinion, where clients are, pushing a button and saying, okay, go here, go there, do that,
Right.
because that really leads to chaos, and it leads to programs that could potentially not result in a satisfied client. When you are remain in control, when you're directing the ship, because that's your role as a strategic counselor, is to set the agenda for the coming year. Some things that you might want to be thinking about. If media relations is part of your programs, are there other things that you can do in addition to that? Because or can you reset expectations given the change media landscape? There is no denying that media relations is far more labor intensive these days. The outlets are shrinking, the reporters are shrinking. We've seen lots of layoffs, we've seen a lot of consolidation, we've seen a lot of outlets change from free to paywall content. So, as you look at all of those things, what else could you do?
Yeah.
Or how can you be effective? What do you need to be effective and change your client's expectations? So that's one
Yeah.
way that you can end the year strong, is by setting yourself up for success in the coming year.
Yeah. And I would say on the integrated marketing side of things too, it feels like let's face it, 2020 was a holding pattern in a lot of ways. 2021 was, okay, here we go. We're climbing out of the foxhole. And 2022 has been like, kind of waiting for any shoes to drop. And I feel like anything you might have put off or anything that you might have said, well, let's not change just yet. Let's see where things shake out. I think 2023 is the time to say, okay, brand X might be time to get on TikTok. Or, hey, our customer behavior has changed in all these ways. So let's make sure that we are there with them and not just doing our thing and in this little space and they're not seeing us. So it's kind of, it adds some excitement to it, right? Of, okay, let's make sure that we're, not just operating as if it's still 2 years ago, which should always be the way, but especially now, I've noticed even that it's been increasingly difficult to get people's attention for things that used to be easy. So that requires that you change your game, but it also requires that you manage those expectations of, you know what? This may not be as successful as far as we've defined success this year. And that's just that. As long as you're hitting your marks as far as, sales and things, that's, it's okay.
I completely agree. I've had those conversations,
Yeah.
things that used to be short. I just right up front said, this is going to be a long tail. Don't expect things to happen all at once. This
Yeah.
is going to be a longer effort. And we can't be afraid to push back on things. It's really interesting how PR people we're so eager to please.
Yes.
We want everybody to be happy. We want our clients to be delighted. And that's a great goal, but it cannot be in lieu of us really doing our job, which
Yeah.
means being truthful. And again, setting the agenda, setting the right expectations, and continuing to set those expectations over and over again so that no one loses sight of what we're really working towards. So
Yeah.
life has changed. And don't be afraid to say, hey, you're not going to see those kind of results. And don't be afraid that that means that they're going to fire you. You have to continue to reinforce your value. And part of that value is being the CEO of your company, operating with that executive mindset, and telling people how you're going to align with them to drive towards the results that they're looking for. And so that may mean dropping some tactics, doubling down on others. It may mean additional budget. It may mean additional time for initiatives. Whatever it's going to take, figure that out, put a bow on it, and be ready to present it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Always be thinking of new ways to help them achieve their goals, really, which is what we do all year long, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think a big way to end the year strong is to make sure that you carve out some time just for you, which I know a lot of us solos do, which is great, but please make sure that you do it because it's so necessary. I know my inclination is, oh, good, everyone's gone. I can get things done. And I am kind of counting on that a little bit for a certain project. But, I'm certainly going to take the holidays off. I'm going to take those delicious holiday Mondays off that we get this year. And it's just, you need it. If you're fighting that urge, please
And here for many years, I would work over holiday periods because it was quote unquote quiet.
Hmm.
I've learned that I need to build quiet into my regular routine
Yes.
and take the holidays off, whether you celebrate Hanukkah, Christmas, Christmaka, Kwanzaa, whatever, or nothing at all, take them off.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't you, like your clients, enjoy this time of year? You got to get out of that mindset
Yeah.
of, I have, I should, because we
Don't
do that. I should work
don't
because
shoot
I can get more
yourself.
stuff done. No, take it off
Yeah.
because no one will care. And guess what's going to happen? If you work through this time period, you're going to enter the new year and you're going to, at some point, regret that you didn't just take time off to enjoy the quiet. It is quiet. So it's a perfect time to take off because there's not new demands coming
Yeah.
at you. And if you feel like you always have to work when other people aren't, then I am going to encourage you to change your schedules.
Hmm.
Cut back on client meetings. It is very possible. Build out blocks of time every single week in your calendar for focused work. And that means silencing notifications, not looking at email. One thing that I have learned really in this past 2 years is that pulling back and building in quiet time is a lot easier than I ever thought it was. It can be done. And the only reason that we're operating on demand is because you're choosing to do that.
Yes. Yeah.
No one expects that. No one
Yeah.
cares. No one cares if they call you and you have to call them back 20 minutes later.
Right.
Because is a client calling you because something, the house is burning down and you're the only person who could call the fire department?
No.
They're not. I mean, yes, there are client emergencies, but we have to put this stuff in perspective. How often do client emergencies happen realistically?
Right.
How often?
Right.
They really don't happen that often. So if something's going on, and here's, something that I tell myself, this is going to sound really horrible, but if a terrible thing has happened, even with a family member, it's happened. I can't prevent it from happening by taking a call immediately. So what I've learned to do even in my personal life is to take a moment when I know that it's going to be something and to get my head in the right space, to take the time that I need to process and then to make the return call because I can't stop it. It's already done. Whatever bad thing has happened, it's done. So now you got to put yourself in the space of, okay, so what can I add to this now? So if a client, if somebody has like sent a bomb threat, hopefully they have a crisis plan in place that they can follow. And I mean, again, these kind of things are so rare. And you'll know when it's a real client emergency that you really need to respond to. But for the other stuff, silence those freaking notifications. You don't have to answer emails within an hour or two or even 4. I promise you, if you went through your emails once a day, no one will care. People are working when it's convenient for them. You have the right to do the same. So I would say end your year strong by ditching toxic work practices. That is, write yourself a big old note, put it on a sticky note on your mirror in the morning, stop it, end it. The younger generation is right about a few things, and this is one of them. They look at us like we're crazy, and they are like, y'all built this whole toxic work culture. I'm not doing that.
We're not doing that. No.
Not doing that.
And I think that's a great challenge to start practicing today. Even now, it's going to feel so weird. It's going to feel so unnatural because, like you say, our profession, we aim to please. We want to take care of everyone. And it's so hard, but it's so worth it.
And I'm going to make this crazy offer because I'm passionate about this and I want you to have a healthy whole life. I want you to. I want your business to be healthy, but I want it to be the business that you really want and that works for you. If you need a little help, reach out to me. I talk to people all the time. And, if you have questions like, okay, I realize I'm doing X. What are some strategies? I'm happy to help you with that. So you can reach out to me on a social media channel, on email, in response to this podcast if you need a little extra help. And I'm happy to help you. I'm happy to support you because nothing makes me happier than knowing that solos are living their very best life. That gives me such joy. I can't even tell you. It makes me ridiculously happy. So one more
I love it.
thing, or maybe two, in your year strong is have individual one-on-one meetings with your primary client contact or team. And these are meetings where it's not necessarily all about the business. We do these throughout the year and they're called health checks. So we do a health check on the business, but it's also an opportunity to just spend time, ask them like, hey, how do you feel your year was? What are your career goals for next year? Let me know how I can help you. What are some things that we can do differently to support where you want to go? How are you feeling? Is there anything that I can do? In other words, it's a human to human meeting.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to do that and give somebody your focused attention and time without a business agenda, without other people in the room, because that's how you build relationships. And it's how you get to the heart of the things that really are going to make work easier for both you and your client in the coming year.
Yeah.
This is perfect time of year to do that.
And it's how you're seen as not just, oh, here comes somebody who wants money from me. Here comes somebody who's trying to drum up business. I mean, it's, we're not asking you to fake like you care, but we know that you do care.
Yeah.
So, let them know. Let your clients know that you care.
Absolutely. I mean, I saw a question recently that was, one of our colleagues had posted something about tips on building stronger client relationships. This is a tip on doing that. This is one of my personal superpowers with my clients. I have very, very long lasting relationships with clients. Even when the business transaction ends, we remain connected, in touch, friends. And it's because I make sure that I treat them like human beings. And I always make it more about the person than the business. That's just my personal philosophy, people first. And I live that. I really do try to live that value. I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but it's something that came natural to me and that I really lean into that because I enjoy building those human relationships and having those friendships with people. And again, even when the business goes away, people know I still care about you as a human being.
Right.
Business ends, but our relationship does not have to end. And that's a really gratifying thing as a solo.
Yes.
It's also practically very good for business because as Michelle said, we know our community, we know you care. So this is not fake. But you may not be expressing that. So we're encouraging you to express it to your clients. Let them know not only are you grateful to work for them in that working relationship, but let them know that you care about them as human beings.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's what we do.
It's what we do because we're awesome.
That's right. Well, we hope that you are looking forward to ending your year in the best way for you. And we hope that some of these tips today and challenges will help you do so and start 2023 in a most delightful way, to use some holiday speak. But until next time, we thank you for joining us on That Solo Life.